Welcome to the spirited cultural capital of Louisiana. Known as the Big Easy, this city is symbolic of rebirth and resilience. Join us as Artifications explores New Orleans. America only has 3 cities: New York, San Francisco, and New Orleans. Everywhere else is just Cleveland. This is a quote from storied playwright Tennessee Williams, who set his famous play, A Streetcar Named Desire, in the heart of the Crescent City. True to life, that streetcar did indeed exist and ended at Desire Street. Today, New Orleans is a flourishing, vibrant city, well aware of its own uniqueness. As you sashay through these brightly colored streets, you connect with the people you meet and become aware that New Orleans is a city of resilience and rebirth. Where else can you find a collection of buildings nearly 100 years older than the birth of our nation, still standing proud, even among a daily deluge of debaucherous visitors? For millennia, indigenous tribes held sway over the region with names like Choctaw, Biloxi, and Chitimacha, found on street signs in many areas in the region. It's hardly a fitting tribute to the natural beauty you can still appreciate in the tree-lined streets in places like the Garden District and all over New Orleans. The first reference to this region as New Orleans came when it was founded in 1718 by Jean-Baptiste Lemoyne de Bienville. The area we know today as the French Quarter was planned just at the mouth of the mighty Mississippi River, acting as a prime port of access to the interior of the vast territory to the north. Its position along a great curve in the river gave rise to its local name of Crescent City. After the region had shifted hands from the French to the Spanish, it was returned as a French possession, and just before the famed Napoleon had crowned himself emperor in 1804, he sold the vast Louisiana territory to the American government for $15 million in order to fund the remainder of his war effort in Europe. That's almost 3 cents per acre. The acquisition instantly doubled the size of the United States, and more importantly, gave the fledgling nation access to the vast interior of the territory by way of the Mississippi River, whose mouth would soon become the region's most prosperous port. It is true. You will find little galleries tucked in every district in the city. The main art districts, of course, can be found on Royal Street in the French Quarter, on Julia Street leading to the Garden District, and the brand new district, which is St. Claude, which developed in response to the artist's needs after Katrina came in 2005. In the 1990s, the warehouse district of New Orleans was in disrepair. In an attempt to bring much needed tourist dollars, a few of the galleries in the area banded together and formed the Art District New Orleans. Since then, Julia Street has become synonymous with the arts area in New Orleans for blue chip galleries. It is now one of the more fashionable places in all of town, with large brightly lit galleries, eateries, and fantastic bars.
Sure. Historically, this is the American sector of New Orleans, so we are not, the French Quarter is on the opposite side of Canal Street, this side is the American side. So architecturally, it will be quite different than what one normally thinks of when they think of New Orleans. Hi, I'm Matthew Weldon, Showman, and I am the gallery director and partner here at Ferrara Gallery, which is a part of the Arts District New Orleans, of which I am also the president. Yeah, the organization was formed about 20 years ago, and it really kind of started coming to life after Katrina, when galleries, by and large, were moving to one central area, which is here in what was formerly known as the Warehouse District. And when the galleries came to this neighborhood, we then started seeing a lot of other type of commerce come. So businesses were moving in, a lot of restaurants, hotels, so on and so forth. And then just in the last, I would say probably 5 or 6 years, a lot of residences. So this used to be an area that felt very much like a business district and was kind of like a dead zone after 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
My name is Marcela Correa. We are in the Arts District. Currently, we're at Ferrara Gallery. My family's actually from Argentina, but I was born in Kenner, actually. Went to school in New Orleans, grew up between Slidell, Kenner, and New Orleans. So I've been here for a very long time, and I will tell you that the arts have always been here, obviously, and the galleries, a lot of the galleries have been here, but I think it was really after Katrina that things kind of exploded to the level that they're at right now. We had Prospect, come around right after. It was I think 2007 that the first Prospect was created, which is the big biennial that we have here. Now it's a triennial. Because of that, we ended up getting a lot of artists that moved down here to New Orleans because it was cheaper to live here. And as a result, you have the whole St. Claude Arts District, which is, basically artist-run galleries, and that are open on a second Saturday. So we do the first Saturdays, they do the second Saturdays. And it's nice because there's kind of the symbiotic relationship. So today is the first Saturday gallery openings, which we host every month. So on a normal first Saturday, you're probably going to have 5,000 people come through. Could be a little bit more. It really just depends on the month.
The hottest month of the year is August. How do you bring awareness to exhibitions that were opening on an otherwise very slow time of the art calendar year? The answer is White Linen Night. It was created by the newly established Art District New Orleans in the 1990s. This year marks the 25th anniversary.
So for White Linen Night, we have about 40 to 50,000 people that come to Julia Street. They're all dressed in white, and they will come here probably around 5 o'clock, and the event goes on until about midnight, and then there's an after party at the CAC. Today, most people come because they want to come and party in their white gown or whatever they're wearing in white, and then they want to drink. But really, for us, it's about the art.
Welcome to the Friendship Quarter. This is the oldest part of New Orleans, and what's interesting here is the dichotomy of this place. The street names are in English, French, and Spanish, due to the many times New Orleans has switched hands between 1718 and 1804, when Le Vieux Carré, as it is also known, became part of Louisiana, when Louisiana came into the Union in 1812. It was the first slave state in the new territory, and in 1804, just to give you an idea, the population was half white and half black, with 2/3 of the black population actually enslaved. This is Jackson Square. It was named after the victor of the Battle of New Orleans, Andrew Jackson, whose face you can easily recognize in the back of the American $20 bill. The square served a military purpose, known as the Plaza de Armas. It became the center of colonial life in the young New Orleans. It will forever be remembered, of course, as the site where Louisiana became part of the United States as territory of the Louisiana Purchase. The north end of the park faces the St. Louis Cathedral, and it was here in the 1920s artists of varying degrees began to congregate and show their works. Many years later, tarot card readers would set up shop in and around the square. Today, the square still has many of the older relics, but shares the space with acrobats and dancers and performers of all kinds working for tips. We stop and speak with one of these live painters who's been working the square for many years.
My name is Tyler Stuhaug. We're in Jackson Square here in New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm an artist out here. I've done art for about 11 and a half years, and it's been a full-time job. I'm originally from Mahnomen, Minnesota. We got up, we traveled around, and my mom had a gypsy soul, and this is where we ended up. Well, when I first started doing art, people think, they can just get a license and jump on the fence and start making money immediately. I've gone through 5 or 6 different designs, and, I found my, they call it the niche. You find something that sells, so you stick with it. And, go figure, your wine sells, liquor sells here in New Orleans, so I ran with it. But, yeah, on St. Anne, this is a full square. On St. Anne, it fills up at about 3:30 in the morning. This one here fills up about 5 o'clock in the morning. So we jump around from space to space to space. They give out so many licenses, so you just gotta come and get your spot, first come, first serve.
Yo. Yo, 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 Sometimes these Jackson Square artists strike the right public nerve with their art and become successful. If they choose, they may find themselves right here on Royal Street with their own gallery. Welcome to Tanner.
Tanner, New Orleans, Louisiana. We're in the French Quarter, and we're coming up on our next month. We'll have our 9th anniversary here. So yeah, it's really kind of hard to believe sometimes. Actually, I just had dinner with a friend of mine. I was living out of my car in LA, and I met this nice guy, and he let me live with him. I couldn't contribute because I was broke, so my contribution was watching his dogs while he went to work. So I had dinner with him last night, and I actually bought him dinner, which was kind of surreal because, I couldn't afford to buy him a taco, and that was only like 10 years ago. As of late, it's become really popular to be, accepting and, embrace diversity. The city's kind of always been that way. You can go in any bar here and you can see the most diverse range of people, like having a great time together. A great example of that's Mardi Gras, It's just everyone reverts to a 5-year-old. Little kids, they don't care about stuff like that. They just want to play, and that's kind of the way people are here, even the adults.
As February rolls around, the people of New Orleans prepare for Lent. They do this by festooning their neighborhoods with beads and baubles, colors and masks. Everyone, I mean everyone, gears up for the Mardi Gras festivities. And everyone gives it their own special flair. For many who come here, there's nothing more culturally that symbolizes New Orleans than the music. While tourism made Bourbon Street, Frenchmen became a destination for locals who wanted to eat well and appreciate the music without all the crazy Bourbon Street crowds. Following Katrina, the area was designated an arts district, and a whole heap of attention was thrust onto this fun and exciting part of town. In addition to the music and the food, art stalls have successfully made their way into this area around Frenchmen and Decatur streets. These stalls are on a day rate and welcome visitors at most hours of the day. It's a steady stream, and everyone enjoys the colorful cast of characters coming in and out of these areas. We met with one such gallery owner on Decatur to speak about just how electric this entire scene is.
I am Muriel Chapman, and we are at 1222 Decatur Street in New Orleans. I work for Renegade Art, and this is our new space. We have 3 artists in here. The main artist is John Hale. John actually contacted the person who had this space previously. It was a clothing store. So we took ownership at 5 p.m. on Thursday, and we were open for business Friday morning. I actually do not live in New Orleans. I live in Mississippi, about an hour and a half away. I met John 4 years ago, and we became really great friends. And when the opportunity came to work with him, I couldn't say no.
It's up here significantly over the last half hour or so.
The worst of the storm has now reached New Orleans.
Katrina went past New Orleans in 2005 with winds close to 175 miles per hour. In its wake, it left about 1,500 dead in Louisiana. Just off the beaten path, we come across the area known as St. Claude. The DIY spirit in this neighborhood is very strong. One of the forces behind St. Claude Art Area is the Barrister Gallery. Let's take a quick stop and meet the owner of this fine space.
My name is Andy Antippas, and we're in my gallery, which is Barrister's Gallery. Well, when I started out on Royal Street 40 years ago, I was principally a historical print gallery. And many of my best clients, before I opened the gallery, were lawyers. And so out of respect for them, the gallery's been called barristers. Well, I actually came down here from the University of Wisconsin as a professor of English at Tulane University, where I worked for 13 years. Art is the vernacular of the city. Everything that you see is, the city itself is an assemblage of art, as if almost assemblage is the quintessential form of New Orleans art. Katrina was, of course, catastrophic for us. Luckily, this building was not touched. I lost some trees in the back. We didn't have any water on the property. So I got some friends and we worked on it and got it all together. And in 2006, I opened up the gallery here. And it's infinitely convenient for an old guy like me, since I live upstairs. I don't have very far to go to in the mornings to go to work. And it's worked out very nicely. And in fact, when I got here, there were two other art establishments. One was a gallery way down near Poland by the Industrial Canal called New Orleans Art Noir. And there's another guy, Adam Farrington, who had his studio here and a front and an open window in which he would show his own work. So we got together and said, well, why don't we coordinate and actually have openings down here and do it the second Saturday since the Uptown Galleries opened on the first Saturday. So before long, in short, there are about 20 galleries down in this area now, and all of them are a phenomenon of the relatively inexpensive space down here, and the fact that there were so many artists who were not being exhibited by the Uptown galleries that it was an easy thing down here to show the full weight of and the breadth of New Orleans art.
New Orleans is amazing. And what makes this tricolor festivities work is everyone coming together and not making it about themselves, but instead about celebrating a city that knows how to give back to those who really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about anything you've seen that you'd like to discuss, please email us at connect@artifications.us. And if you are interested in supporting any of our endeavors, please go ahead. Now, our goal here at Artifications is simple: to make the art world just a little smaller, because you can't spell Earth without art. I'm Roland Ramos. Thanks for watching.